this is Russ. Yeah, I'm back in the car again. Now, bear with me as I go through this story. I know it's not e-bike related, but I was debating whether I was going to put this on the Russ is Right channel anyway, or put it on More from Russ, and I decided to put it on Russ is Right because many years ago I did a video concerning this topic, and this is before all the e-bike things started happening. I felt it was important to kind of finish this whole story up here on Russ is Right, since part of it is actually on Russ is Right already. So listen anyways, it might be an interesting story for you. So it's Mother's Day as I'm recording this. It's May 10th, 2026. I was going through my emails and I got a notification that there was a story about Betty Broderick. And whenever there's a story concerning Betty Broderick, it piques my interest because I had worked the Betty Broderick case when I worked at the district attorney's office in San Diego County. I was the investigative technician involved with putting together all of the evidence for the trial. And so yeah, I'm very well familiar with her case. And I just wanted to read a little bit of the article that I saw here. It's in The Guardian. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's too long, but I'm just going to give you basically an idea of what they said, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of my thoughts about this too. So it says, Betty Broderick, convicted in 1989 killings of ex-husband and his new wife, dies age 78. Okay. Broderick was serving a life sentence in California over killings, and last month was transferred to a medical center. Says Betty Broderick, who became infamous for the 1989 killings of her former husband and his new wife in a case that shocked the country and inspired movies and books, has died at the age of 78 while still serving a life sentence. Representatives from the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation confirmed to NBC News that Elizabeth A. Broderick was moved from the California prison where she had been transferred to a medical center on April 18th. She died on the following Friday. The medical examiner's office initially determined that the cause of death to be natural causes, though San Bernardino County coroner will carry out a formal investigation, according to NBC. Broderick became nationally recognized after fatally shooting her ex-husband Dan Broderick and his new wife Linda Coquina on 5 November 1989. In 1991, she was found guilty of second-degree murder in connection with their deaths and received a prison sentence of 32 years to life. Okay, so it goes on and talks a little bit about the relationship that they had and problems that she had with her husband after her husband had divorced her, and then eventually ended up marrying his secretary, who surprisingly looks a lot like Betty Broderick when she was younger. Now, the reason this thing became such a big deal and hit national news is because many women said that they kind of related to Betty simply because they said, well, she had put him through schooling and everything and got him to where he was. He's a very high-profile attorney in San Diego County. And then he divorces her and marries the younger woman, right? So so what happened was Betty, had gone through a lot of things and left, voicemail messages, kind of vulgar voicemail messages. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then did a lot of things. And Dan Broderick, of course, retaliated against her, cutting her off of things and charging her money for every bad word that she would say and leaving on voicemail messages and things like that. So ultimately, it just boiled over, and she took the key to Dan Broderick's house from her daughter, and then went over to his house during the evening, and while they were in bed, she just opened fired and killed both Dan and Linda Coquina. So anyway, it went to trial. The attorney for the case had me as the investigative technician for her trial. And so Carrie Wells is the DA, the deputy DA for San Diego County. Jack Early was the defense attorney. So anyway, so my job was basically to prepare all the court exhibits and all the evidence from the prosecution side, get that ready to go to trial. So I had to put together all of the the photographs and everything. And so I'd seen all of the crime scene photos, the autopsy photos, everything that had to do with the case. And we even went back to the crime scene and went inside there and did some video of the crime scene after the fact, to show the jury what the crime scene basically looked like and what her path would have been had she when she went there. And it would have been difficult to bring the whole jury to the crime scene, so I had to videotape it in order to do that. So here's the thing, and the reason why I wanted to talk a little bit about this. This case has been something that I've been thinking about pretty much my entire my entire life after the DA's office. I mean, we're talking a case that, what was that, 1989 time period? Is that what they said it was? I mean, I totally forget as well what the dates and everything were, but yeah. So anyway, so every now and then, Betty Broderick's name would come up, and whenever that came up, it would spark an interest in me because it was probably the most famous case I had worked on while working at the DA's office. And so here's the reason why it kind of hits home a little bit more for me this time, is because I remember back at that time. We did a first trial and it ended up in a hung jury. And so we did a second trial, and then we had gotten a guilty verdict at the end of the second trial. So it was for second degree murder. So she basically got basically life imprisonment. And she was up for parole many times, but she was always denied parole because she was never remorseful for any of the things that she did. And I'm sure even to her end of her time, she was still not remorseful. So because of that, she never got a chance to get out. And I knew too, when she got her sentence given, I said, this lady is going to spend the rest of her life in prison. Now, this isn't unusual because many of the cases we've worked on, people do go to prison and they never get back out, right? It's just that this particular one resonated with a lot of people. Betty was on Oprah. They did an interview with Oprah, and I think 2 made-for-TV movies were made with her. It's called A Woman Scorned, the Betty Broderick story, I believe. They had, who was the actress that portrayed her? It was the mom on Family Ties. Remember her? I'll put a graphic up. I can't remember. I have bad memory. And then there's a movie, I think it's still on Netflix, but it was on Netflix. It's called Dirty John or something to that effect. And they had the Betty Broderick story on that as well. I think it may be still on Netflix. So if you want to check that out, you can do that. So her name pops up every now and then. And whenever that pops up, it just sets a little thing off in me because I worked this case. And remembering that at that time, thinking that we're going to send this lady to prison and she's going to be there forever. And that's exactly what ended up happening. Now, I kept thinking, too, about her children at the time, because she had several kids. One was older, and I think there was 1 or 2 that was younger, but a couple that were younger. I don't remember how many kids she had, but I kept thinking the things that she did essentially means that these kids will never have their mom or their dad anymore. And it was a big controversy at the time because, they were saying would the children testify against her in the trial and everything. And I said, it's kind of a sad case. So now I met Betty a couple times during this whole trial incidents, and I remember once too. I was assigned to take some photos of Betty while she was in a holding cell with the marshals that were bringing her to trial and everything. And yeah, she was putting up a big stink about it all. And let me say this: Betty had a mouth. Okay, she had a flair for language. All right, and she was fighting him off, and she wouldn't do what they wanted her to do, and they were trying to do their job. And I was thinking, wow, she's making it really difficult for herself to go through this. And so anyway, that's my impression of her. And then even during the trials, I was assigned to take photographs of Betty while she was in on the witness stand as well. And the DA's office wanted me to do that. They had orders of no photography in the courtroom, so I was actually the only one that was able to do it. Of course, Jack Early objected to me twice. He says, why is this guy taking photos? And the judge said, well, he's there from a request of the DA to get photos of Betty while she was on the stand. And I finished my job. I did the photos. And of course, Jack Early objected to me twice, because the thing is, the camera is kind of loud. When you take a photo, it's got a motor drive on it, so it's the you can hear it. It's film cameras back in the day, right? So I got my shots, and the judge asked me if I was finished, and I said, yeah, I've got everything I need, and then I left. But I worked on the audio recordings as well, because part of the evidence against her was the voicemail messages. Well, it actually wouldn't be voicemail at that time. It would be answering machine messages, I should say. The answering machine messages that she left was, of course, all recorded on tape. And so sometimes the tapes don't sound that great. So my job was to enhance that tape, make those tapes sound better, so it's easier to understand what she was saying in court. So I did that. And like I said, all of the trial exhibits for the trial was done by me. So this case is just something that has been on my mind for all these years. And I would say with Betty passing away now, it's basically come to a close. So when I saw the article, my first thought was, wow, it's been that many years. And true, yeah, she never did get parole. And I think had she been remorseful, maybe that would be, maybe she may have gotten out at that point. But to the end, she always felt that she was justified in doing what she did, because she felt that she put this guy through everything and made him what he was, essentially, and then this is what she gets for it. She gets divorced and basically gets nothing out of all of that. So anyways, I just wanted to at least do this video to close a chapter of my life too, because it's connected to you when you had a hand in the case, so to speak. And it like I said, it is the most famous case that I had worked on when I was working with the DA's office out in San Diego County. So I just wanted to put that out there, let you guys know that it's a close in my chapter of my life as well, with all this happening. So put a comment, let me know what you think. If you've heard of this case, put a comment, let me know what you think. It's just curious how many people remember this case or not, So I'm curious myself, is it something that you remember back then? Do you recall it? Have you seen any of the movies? Have you read the book? I think she had a book that she didn't author it. I think she somebody else penned it, but through interviews with her or something like that. So if I find it, I'll put a little graphic up here so you can see what it looked like. I'll check it on Amazon, see if I can find a book. Yeah, let me know. Let me know if you've ever heard of this case before. If you've never heard of it before, well, let me know that too. But I think it was well known enough that they made several movies about it, and they're still talking about it now. So, all right, that's all I got for you guys for today. Yeah, it's the end of the chapter for me too, for this case. So that's why I felt that I needed to at least do one more video about that. All right, hit the like and subscribe button. I'll talk to you guys next time.